It's all right.
The darling did. She spilled something. She carries that ceramic coffee cup.
Happy New Year.
She knocked over the film.
All right, we will go ahead and get started today. We have a couple items at the top of COW, Commissioners, before we get to our agenda. And then just an FYI, after we're finished with COW, sorry, that's very distracting. I'm going to move this way a little bit. We have an executive session. So just an FYI on that. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to go to the podium because we're going to start the morning off with 2 items.
We do have a special session. We do? I thought you just said that. She said we have an executive session. I didn't want that. I don't care.
All right. Good morning, everyone. We're going to start off the new year honoring a number of individuals who were the recent recipients of the Rosa Parks Essay Contest. So I'm actually going to call up Patty Caudell to come up and share with us the winners, those who are able to join us today. I know we already had a ceremony last month at the Rapid where the individuals were honored, but we also wanted to take a moment at the beginning of COW on television, because lots of people throughout the city watch the show, and make sure that you have an opportunity to be a part of our committee of the whole, and to have my colleagues on the commission who weren't able to join me for the ceremony also congratulate you. So I'm going to turn it over to Patty.
Thank you, Mayor. You made me nervous. There's all these hundreds of people watching on TV.
Thousands, millions.
We are fortunate to have the first place winner for our Rosa Parks Essay Contest in the high school category here, and her family, as well as her principal from Innovation Central High School. So I would like to ask Pearl, her family, and we've also got our judges, a number of our judges here, and the chair of our commission, our Rosa Parks Essay Contest here as well, Misty Stanton. So please come and join me. And I understand that Pearl did some amazing things with her awards, so I'd like to ask Pearl also to tell us what she did with her prize money. Oh, I'll introduce folks that are here. We have Misty Stanton, AJ Hills, Frank Coronado, Pearl McFall, and Mark Frost. And you didn't bring your mom and your brother with you. Pearl. So I'm just say what I did with the money. Just tell us what you did with the award.
Okay, I took a big portion of the $500 that I won, and I bought Christmas gifts for the homeless people. And on Christmas Eve, my mom and my sister and I went and gave them to people downtown.
Thank you. Let's get a picture, but I'll just add, one, I want to say thank you to everyone who works so hard on this committee. This is an important process that we do every year. I was able to go to the ceremony, and it's unbelievably heartwarming and inspiring to see the number of students who participate in this essay contest every year, really honoring Rosa Parks, but also her strength and courage and the role that she played, the really important role that she played in our country. And so it was a delight to be there and to meet all of the students who were honored. And then also thank you for coming and congratulations again. So. All right, should we get a picture? Thank you. All right, and next I'm really delighted this morning to have with us some of our key partners in the community. So many of you recall that actually under Commissioner Lanier's leadership, there was a community process and a task force called SAFE. And from that came a number of goals and priorities. And then from that, we started looking at how do we start to implement these priorities. And we were really excited to secure a grant last year and do that in partnership with with the Family Outreach Center to help carry out some of those goals. And so I want to take just a few minutes to invite some representatives from FOC to come on up and share with us an update about the grant. It was a 3-year grant for a total of $860,000 through the Department of Justice. So if you want to share some information about how that grant is going and fill us in on what we can expect. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Welcome.
Good morning. My name is Tamika Bolden. I'm an outpatient therapist at Family Outreach, and we're indeed delighted to be a partner in this process. I want to just announce a few of our team members. Our team members are Dr. Vernice Chandler, she's Executive Director, Carla Waite, our Clinical Director, Shelley Seasey, Program Coordinator, Steve Ellison, he is our Community Supports, Mike Rinker, he's a therapist and EMDR specialist, and last but not least, our peer supports, and that's Kirby Killingham, who serves in the dual role, and JD Chapman. So I want to kind of just frame that program by using the 3 T's. The 3 T's being trauma, treatment, and touch points. So we start off with trauma. The participants in this program are victims of violence and trauma. So we use a clinical assessment and tools to be able to identify that trauma. After the trauma is identified, we move to treatment using 3 treatment modalities. Those modalities are a Seek and Safety program, which has been modified to be culturally relevant and gender specific. Those cultural adaptations were made by myself and Tom Moore, who's known throughout Kent County in the mental health arena. And that program is comprised of 12 weeks within the community. We are intentional about having community sites. We've been at Steepletown, LifeQuest, Southeast Alternatives, and Seeds of Promise. The other modality is individual therapy. Each participant is able to do individual therapy with myself, Mike Rinker, and also Kirby Killingham. And our last treatment modality is EMDR. That's an intense trauma-focused therapy that's been proven to be very successful with people who are being victims of trauma. And that's by EMDR specialist, Mike. The last T I want to focus on is touch points. So we're intentional about having those intentional touch points, which is done by our peer support and community support. We also have touch points with our stakeholders. So we have continued stakeholders meetings to make sure we're having intentional touch points in that arena. And then lastly, the touch points making sure our sites are located in community within the urban core. Our grant focuses on African American men between the ages of 16 and 24, and we're glad to be in partnership and ask for your continued support in this area and referrals. Thank you. Now I'll give it to Kirby Killingham.
Thank you, Mayor, City Commission. As she eloquently put, we do work with a very troubled demographic. But this program is going to be successful because we have a lot of unique components and characteristics about this. An example is myself. I get the opportunity to actually wear a clinician's hat and a peer support specialist hat. In doing that, I am able to actually be in the community with these young men in their natural settings, and I can actually see the trauma that they are exposed to on a daily basis from their lenses. So then we can take those physical data and that physical sample, and we can actually bring it back to our team, and we can be more impactful in the treatment that we give these young men. Under this dual role, I believe this model has allowed us to interrupt at least 2 acts of violence involved with guns. We've interrupted a group of young men that are in high school right now that were being groomed to be next generation drug dealers. Men, they're in the program, their school attendance has went up. A lot of men have obtained gainful employment, and men are now being proud to be fathers again. So we really credit a lot of that to the modality that we are implementing in this program. With that being said, there are still a lot of barriers that have to be met, which is housing. A lot of these guys are very transitional. As far as employment and education, food and clothes, we can pretty much provide for that. But a lot of these guys are still at Mel Trotter. A lot of them are Salvation Army, Guiding Light, and facilities like that. So we are asking the city and the mayor if you guys have any additional suggestions as far as how to provide fair and equitable housing for this man. Please contact myself or anybody at Family Outreach Center. Also, if you know anybody between the ages of 16 and 24 years of age who are African American, who are struggling in life, have been exposed to trauma, please contact us as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you again. Family Outreach Center has been providing really valuable services in our city, in our community for a very long time, for years, and we really appreciate the work that you do, and we're glad to have this partnership. So thank you. right, so that will take us to our agenda today. And first up is a request for me to travel to the Michigan Municipal League Capital Conference on March 21st. It's actually a day and a half in Lansing. This is a conference that happens every year, and it's a day spent with other cities looking at legislative issues and then also going to the Capitol and advocating on legislative issues that we may be facing this year.
So moved.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It carries. And then commissioners, if any of you want to attend that, please let me know. In the past, typically 1 or 2 commissioners have joined the mayor in that. So. All right, next that will take us to a resolution authorizing a Laughfest sponsorship. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
That's perfect. That was good, Commissioner.
Been thinking about that all year.
Last time.
So, Josh, you want to tell us about this? This is such a great event in our city.
Yes, good morning. Thank you. So this morning, this is a recommendation coming from the Parking Commission. The request is for approval for sponsorship for Laughfest for this year in the amount of $15,000 for sponsorship, and then an additional $3,000 in hooded meter fees. So Laughfest, this is the first time they've approached us for sponsorship of their event. For those of you not familiar with it, this is an annual festival to feature comedy, performance, improv through film, dance, and other comedy events. And the intent is to raise awareness and support for children, adults, families, and friends, and finding their smile and laughter in the midst of cancer or a grief journey. All of the proceeds of the event go to supporting Gilda's Club of Grand Rapids, and this offers free and emotional healthcare programs for people going through their grief journey. So they approached us about this, and so Laughfest has had many positive community impacts, including increased parking system revenue. Each year, the festival draws more than 40,000 people. They offer a number of both free and ticketed events open to anyone. In previous festival years, they use about 65 venues across West Michigan and feature ranging in size from 50 to more than 3,000 people. Recent economic analysis suggests that this provides impact of about $2 million a year to West Michigan, and visitors spend an average about $5 on transportation. So the Parking Commission discussed this at their November meeting and recommended to the City Commission to approve sponsorship for this event, mostly to support it because it is nonprofit in nature, as well as it does offer free events for the public. And they're planning on using the funding to do marketing of city parking facilities and some of the new applications we're doing, as well as to provide information for the mobility services, because they're very interested in trying to expand the mobility services towards some of their venues. The other thing I wanted to note is we've also been working with the Office of Special Events to identify any other types of events that are usual to the city that might qualify for future sponsorship from the department. So I've been working with Yvette on developing that list, and so there may be some future ones that are coming over the next few months.
Great, thank you. Questions, commissioners? Okay, I think we all know the value of Gilda's Club in the city and community, and this is an amazing event. I love that it's in somewhat winter. Hopefully it's a little warmer by March, but it's a great way to get people out and to get them downtown. So, great. Thanks. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It carries. All right, next this will take us to a resolution scheduling a public hearing to consider adoption of the 2017 Parks and Recreation Strategic Master Plan.
Support.
All right, and our Parks Director is here to tell us about this. This has been worked on for several months now.
Yes, good morning, Mayor and Commissioners. David Marquardt, Director of Parks and Recreation. Over the past 12 months, we've reached well over 6,000 individuals across the city as a part of our planning effort. We've been very intentional about going out into the community and attending already pre-organized events and being a part of neighborhood organizations events that have been taking place. This has been a very effective way for us to reach out and get really meaningful feedback as a part of our planning process, and that will continue over the course of the next month up until this public hearing on February 21st. The plan will be available for public viewing in a number of locations, one of which is on our City Parks and Recreation webpage. We will also have it available at 4 public libraries listed here as the West Side Branch, the Van Belkom Branch, Seymour Branch, and the Cook Library Center. These cover each of the 4 wards. There are actually 2 in Ward 1, but those were strategically selected as a way so that we could reach the Roosevelt and Black Hills neighborhood area and then further out west. So that's why we've got 2 in that particular ward. If anyone, of course, has any questions, we're always available for discussion at our department as this plan is available publicly. And just as another note, we've got another public event coming up this Thursday down at the Graham where people are invited to come and participate in a lunch, hear a little bit about the plan. In addition to this Thursday's event, we've got events in each of the wards, again, as a part of already scheduled events that are taking place where people can learn more about the plan and ask us questions about it as well. So. Any questions?
I have a question. So if from the public comment period there are recommended changes, what's the process for making the amendments or changes to the draft plan before it's finalized?
We will have time in the time in which comments are received to make those adjustments before plan adoption in late February.
Okay, great. Commissioners, questions?
That's good.
All right, well, I'll get a copy of the draft plan so that we also can review it and provide input.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It carries. And that public hearing will be February 21st. All right, next that will take us to a resolution authorizing the issuance of a limited tax general obligation downtown development refunding and improvement bond series. This is a resolution approving a second amendment to the City of Grand Rapids.
So moved. Support.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mayor and Commissioners, Jana Wallace, Debt and Authority Finance Officer. The item before you today is regarding a potential refunding deal for the Downtown Development Authority Series 2009 bonds. Those bonds were originally issued as refunding bonds through the State of Michigan Financing Authority. And they didn't refund all of the arena bonds. They refunded just the ones that could be refunded. So there are still some 1994 bonds outstanding. The deal that the city made and the city and the DDA made with the state of Michigan is that the DDA and the state would split the savings for those Series 2009 bonds. We've talked with John Barton at the Michigan Finance Authority. They're willing to do that again this time. So we will split the savings on this potential deal. Because of the split of the savings, that's considered new money in municipal bond world. So we issued a 45-day notice of intent, which expired on January 1. We received no comments from the public regarding this new money portion of this bond issue. The attached resolution authorizes but does not require us to issue refunding bonds. Market conditions right now are a little bit, I'll say, wiggly, which is not really a bond world, but municipal markets aren't sure where the United States is going for the next year. I think a lot of us feel the same way. So at this point, we're not sure whether we will or will not do this. So the resolution also authorizes Scott Buer as Deputy City Manager, CFO, to make that final decision as to whether we go to market or not.
Questions, Commissioners? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Thank you.
Carries. Thank you. All right. Next, this will take us to a resolution approving a second amendment to the City of Grand Rapids Southtown Corridor Improvement District boundaries.
So moved.
Support.
All right. Kara Wood is here to tell us about this, although
Good morning.
I think we've talked about Southtown quite a bit.
Yes, this is the
Lord have
second amendment. It's a technical amendment to the amendment that you approved recently, but there have been no changes and no public comment since the public hearing you held.
All right. Commissioner Lanier, Commissioner Allen, anything to add?
Nope. Sure.
Nothing. Commissioner?
I know you had lots and lots of conversations about this, which is probably why you didn't get comments then, because you got so many ahead of time. So, no, it's a lot of work, and we appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Look at you finding the positive spin. I appreciate it.
It's a work in progress. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It carries. All right. Next, this will take us to a resolution approving a second amendment to the city. Oh, is that the same one? No, they're partners.
It's the TIF, yeah.
That's right. A resolution approving a second amendment to the City of Grand Rapids Southtown Corridor Improvement District Development Plan and Tax Increment Financing Plan. Can I get a motion?
So moved. Support.
All right. Any additional questions or comments about this? These are companion resolutions. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, it carries. All right, next, I'll ask Lou to come up for the next four. We have, the first one is a resolution providing for the publication and setting the date to consider a proposed ordinance amendment to Chapter 131, General Building Regulations of the Code of the City of Grand Rapids.
Good.
Support. All right.
Good
Lou?
morning.
Actually, let me ask our city attorney, can I read all four of these and have Lou talk about all four of them? Or should I do them separate? I can read all four. Commissioners, are you okay with that? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and read the next three, and then you can talk about all four of them. Item 8 is a resolution providing for the publication of and setting the date to consider a proposed ordinance amendment to Chapter 132, Plumbing Code of the Code of the City of Grand Rapids. Item number 9 is similar. It's a resolution providing for the publication of and setting the date to consider a proposed ordinance amendment to Chapter 133, the Electrical Code of the City of Grand Rapids. And item number 10 before us today is a resolution providing for the publication of and setting the date to consider a proposed ordinance amendment to Chapter 134, which is the Mechanical Code of the City of Grand Rapids. Can I get a motion for all four?
So moved.
Support. All right, so all four are before us. And Lou, if you want to tell us about these items.
Okay, good morning. These items are resolutions directing publication of the attached ordinance summaries and scheduling consideration of the ordinances for January 24th. They'd amend the 4 chapters of the city code and would decriminalize first, second, and third violations of the construction codes by classifying them as municipal civil infractions rather than misdemeanors. We think that classification is more appropriate for these types of violations and that the change will have a positive impact on construction code compliance in Grand Rapids. The only significant difference between the 4 items is the 4th for Chapter 134 Mechanical authorizes the city manager to issue an administrative policy for the mechanical safety inspection program, which is the required periodic third-party inspection for gas-fired equipment in residential rental properties, so water heaters and furnaces, to make sure those are operating safely and efficiently.
Okay. All right, commissioners, questions? So this will provide for publication, and then we'll be back before us at our next meeting on January 24th. Okay, I'll call the question for all 4. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? They carry. Thanks, Lou. Thanks for your work on this. All right, commissioners, that will quickly, wow, look at that. It's a new year. Yeah. So that will quickly take us to the end of COW, but it will take us into executive session. So can I get a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Support.
All right, and it's a voice call. For the purpose of collective bargaining. Commissioner O'Connor?
Yes.
Lanier?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes. Yes.
All right, so we'll go down to 6th floor to the city attorney's conference room.
All right, well, I scheduled